good morning to you, our viewers watching from St. Lucia and St. Lucians living abroad. A special good morning to you. We continue with our coverage in response to COVID-19 with this morning's COVID-19 response report. Today is Thursday, the 28th of May 2020, and we have brought our report to coverage to the Parliament in downtown Castries. Once again, the second time this week for the continuation of parliamentary proceedings. Today is the sitting of the Senate, and the motions down for consideration, among other things, include the extension of the state of emergency here in St. Lucia till the 30th of September. Also, another motion down for consideration, Parliament is seeking authorization for the Minister of Finance to borrow by means of advances, sums not exceeding $85 million from commercial banks for a period of 6 months from the date hereof, which some shall be charged on and paid out of the consolidated fund. And finally, the Parliament authorizes the Minister for Finance to borrow the sum of US $29 million by way of a rapid credit facility loan from the International Monetary Fund for the purpose of capital and recurrent expenditure. My name is Jessie Leos, and I'm joined as usual by my colleague Carlton Cyril. Good morning, Carlton.
Bonjour Jessie, nous avons dit bonjour Saint-Lucie. Encore au savent nous ici en Caïconsit. Mardi, nous Premier ministre dans le cabinet d'exclusion parlement joint ici et puis parmi bagaille pour discuter qu'on nous a bien pour ajouter à ce état de secours et qu'on savent aujourd'hui la Sénat là qu'a joint pour continuer ici parmi bagaille qu'on discuter qu'on nous te dit plus bon est à Jessie a dit pour ajouter à ce état de secours by Premier ministre qui ministre Finance autorisation pour y prêter pas plus passer 85 millions de dollars et puis parmi l'autre bagaille pour y prêter 29 millions de dollars hors IMF là. Quand nous menons rapport ici à Caïconsit ici nous menons rapport nous mais nous fait rapport ça by COVID-19 headquarters là. Nous avons et puis nous. Bonjour pour ces gens radio nous, bonjour pour ces gens nous qui écoutent nous sur Facebook. Vous savez qu'il y a un autre jour, plus développement, plus information. Bon matin en jeudi, le 28 mai. Toujours un plaisir pour nous et puis nous.
Once again, if you're just joining us, special good morning to you. We are live from downtown Castries in the Parliament building, about to bring you the COVID-19 response report from here as we segue into the parliamentary proceedings for the morning. Today is Thursday, the 28th of May, and the latest developments are the regular update from the CMO. We have that coming up from Dr. Sharon Belmar-George. We also have the External Affairs Minister, the Honorable Sarah Flood-Bober, reaffirming the commitment to return all St. Lucians desirous of coming back home, back to our shores as soon as possible. And Digicel donates to the OECS in response to COVID-19. And we get an update on the employment relief program, as well as from the NIC, as well as non-NIC contributors should be receiving some income support relief from the government of St. Lucia as well. So we have the details to these and other developments coming up in just a moment. We're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we have these stories.
Coronavirus? I am worried, Gassa. It's only old people dying from that.
Hold up. Being young does not mean being safe. Yes, it's true that the elderly are at higher risk, but anyone can get the virus. The effect is even worse if you have a chronic condition like hypertension, heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes, or weakness in your immune system. If you are living with these conditions, be extra careful. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol when hand washing is not possible. Avoid touching your face. Take steps to boost your immunity through proper nutrition, exercise, rest, and take your medication as prescribed. Limit being around people who have flu symptoms, even close family members. Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
A special good morning to you for those of you listening on air and online. My name is Jessie Leonce, joined by my colleague Carlton Cyril, as usual, with this morning's COVID-19 report. And this morning we have the regular update from the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George. If we could just go to this clip at this time.
On May 27, 2020, the Ministry of Health and Wellness received the results of 41 COVID-19 tests that were conducted, all of which returned as negative. This is the 24th consecutive day out of a total of 382 tests conducted that we have received no positive cases since our last case was recorded on May 3rd, 2020. Though this data is encouraging, our healthcare providers continue to remain vigilant, screening and testing people who present at our facilities with flu-like symptoms, as we know the public health threat posed by COVID-19 is not over. We encourage everyone to monitor their individual state of health and that of their loved ones. If experiencing symptoms which include fever, cough, sore throat, loss of smell, take no chances. Please seek care at our community respiratory clinics or outside of their normal operations at the Victoria Hospital and the St. Jude Hospital. In the coming week, we'll have the return of our grade 6 and Form 5 students in preparation for their exams. During that week, we also have the reopening of the national borders to travelers. These changes will result in a greater movement of people, and with that, we note the potential for increased transmission of the virus. As such, the Ministry of Health, in collaboration with the relevant sectors, has been preparing for these changes and the risks that potentially accompany them. This includes instituting of protocols, site assessments to determine capacity for infection prevention and control, as well as the surging of our stocks of personal protective equipment.
That was Dr. Sharon Belmar-George, the Chief Medical Officer here in St. Lucia, giving us the usual updates for COVID-19 here on Ireland. Just telling us that 41 COVID-19 samples coming back yesterday, the 27th of May, all coming back negative. And as of yesterday, it was the 24th consecutive day out of a total of 382 tests conducted in that time frame that we have received no positive cases since our last was recorded on May 3rd. Our last case of COVID-19 was recorded on May 3rd, 2020. Again, the alert has been up. We still face the threat of COVID-19 here on Ireland, and especially so as we begin to open up our country, resume partially our education sector. We have the grade 6s and Form 5s returning to school in a phased approach by the Ministry of Education, Carlton, to help them prepare for the common entrance examinations as well as the CXC.
Merci tellement, Jessie. Là, messieurs, dames, comme la coutume, nous avons une information là pour faire et puis COVID-19 20 information nous ni qu'a sorti chef médical officier ça c'est Dr. Belmar-George là il a dit fini le 27 mai ministre qui est responsable pour santé oui souverain 41 tests qui ont été conductés et quand 41 tests ça toute vie négative encore toute vie négative pour date nous avons 24 jours, dernière fois nous jouons un test positif, c'est le 3e jour en mai. Ça sent bon résultat, tout bonnement bonne nouvelle. La CMO a dit, information ça c'est yon qui a encouragé yo et puis yo ka continuer à présent avec effort yo et puis ces gens essentiels là yo ka fait assurer yo même conducter test et puis c'est moun ça mais il a encore dit avertissement nous ni pour continuer chebe protocole en parmi l'autre bagaille aussi il a demandé public là si vous sentez une piècine de maladie, rien qui semble flou, la fièvre, souple, et cadeau, aller au ces cliniques là, parce que ces cliniques là, ça c'est une autre manière pour nous faire assurer nous changer en les vermines Covid là. Il mentionnait bien vite. L'école qui a ouvert tout de suite expressément pour ces mamans Common Entrance avec ces mamans CXIA, c'est monde ça qui fait examination yo pour qu'ils savent pas du temps tout ça qu'a fait Wislan même qui a venu plus haut quand il voulait date qui moun copain c'est pas date qui toute bagaille havie normal encore nous qu'a plaidé pour ici les venir pour vous celle ça vous peut faire qui assis c'est vous protéger corps et puis vous suivre protocole ça a commencé et puis expressément encore service et équipement qui est protecteur pour une nouvelle une bonne nouvelle encore 41 nous recevons 41 tests qui devraient aller et nous avons toute vie négative quand pour date nous avons 24 jours en cette liste nous pas ni pièce nous pouvons personne testé positive avec vermine corona.
Thanks for that, Carlton. And just to let you know, the sitting of the House of Parliament is scheduled for 10 a.m. The upper house, the Senate, will convene at 10 a.m. At least that is the schedule that we received from the Parliamentary office. And just to round off the word from the CMO, you know, as the country is beginning to open up, Carlton, we're going to see some sectors from the first week of June, resumption of tourism, accommodation services, the phased reopening of schools in the case of the grade 6s and Form 5s. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is asking for the support. Yes, there are stringent measures and protocols put in place as these sectors reopen. But the ministry is asking for the support of every citizen in maintaining the recommended infection prevention and control measures to further strengthen the measures that have already been put in place to protect our population here. I just want to head over to the External Affairs Minister, the Honorable Sarah Flood-Bobra. She spoke this week as over the weekend we had the returning of 151 St. Lucians from both the high seas and from Canada and Barbados. And she reaffirmed her commitment to returning all St. Lucians who are desirous of coming back home, to ensuring that they can be returned home in the proper way. I just want to read the lead here. The weekend of May 23rd, 2020, the Department of Health and Wellness received 151 St. Lucians who were repatriated. 59 are cruise ship workers of the Disney Fantasy, 73 from the Royal Vision of the Seas, and 19 are nationals repatriated from Canada and Barbados. The nationals have been placed into quarantine for a period of 14 days as per the country's established COVID-19 protocols. Minister with responsibility for external affairs, the Honorable Sarah Flood-Bobra, expressed gratitude to all of the relevant stakeholders, agencies as well as ambassadors and friendly governments involved in this process. The minister indicated that while the government remains committed to getting all St. Lucians home, it will not be without its challenges.
You would appreciate that every repatriation effort has its own challenges. The government of St. Lucia is not necessarily able to charter a flight to bring its citizens home. That is very costly. But wherever we know that there are flights operating, our missions overseas, our high commissions overseas, our ambassadors and consuls general and high commissioners work very hard to speak with the agencies, speak with the airlines, speak with the charters, speak with the vessels, speak with the governments to ensure that wherever there are St. Lucians who want to come home, that we are able to repatriate them as efficiently and as quickly as possible. And this is what we have been doing, and we will continue to do that.
Now, the Honourable Minister did note the limitations as it pertains to the repatriation of our St. Lucians at any one particular time, and this is due to the space at the quarantine facilities. She, however, urged the St. Lucians to be patient, as the government is leaving no stone unturned to get all St. Lucians who are desirous of returning back home.
There are still some of our St. Lucians who are on cruise ships, a limited number. We are aware of them, that they are in the UK, Southampton to be precise. There are St. Lucians who are still within the region, students who have not been able to come home. And the government of St. Lucia continues to place this matter at a very, very high priority. We understand what it is like in such a time of crisis, with such a pandemic that has descended upon us. The people want to be home. They want to be with families. And so I do wish to give the assurance on behalf of the government of St. Lucia that this is foremost in our minds. We continue to ask all St. Lucians who are out there to keep in touch with our consulates, keep in touch with our missions. Because sometimes we get information of a flight or a vessel at very short notice. And whilst we can't make any promises, if we have an idea of who's out there, who needs to come home, that helps us in our negotiations.
That was the Honorable Minister for External Affairs, Sarah Flood Bobra. A total of 400 St. Lucians have so far been repatriated. I believe this is the third batch of St. Lucians being repatriated this past weekend, and we do wish them all the best as they go into quarantine. We do hope that they are all healthy and they can come and be part of our population, rejoin society, and be meaningful contributors during this time. Carlton?
Merci tellement. Quand nous allons continuer par information et développement là ni pour faire et puis ça fait Covid là au cas ils savent à ce week-end nous une nouvelle date qui a près 150 7 lycéens trouvé qu'on y repatrié et puis là 59 anciens ça c'est gens qui travaillent sur ces bâtiments ils viennent à bord Disney Fantasy et puis là nous 73 bâtiment Royal Vision of the Seas et puis 19 anciens nationales Hot Babad et puis Canada qu'on a effort et qui a suivi programme ici qui bien savent les venir pour effort gouvernement pour mener national et puis citoyen Saint-Lycée et vie entrer en Saint-Lycée ou ka effort ça qu'a développé il y en a ces bagages là qui bien important ou ka ils savent les venir pour ces monde ça qu'a venir Saint-Lycée nous ka repatrier oui mais nous ni pour mettre yo en quarantine. Et puis bien important pour ça c'est yon a ces raisons yo pas anique mener tout le monde ensemble yo ni pour faire graduellement parce que quantité les nous ni en ces places quarantine qu'on pas dit en compagnie entre là yo quitter c'est les efforts qu'a venir pour mener l'autre quand assassin assurance pour un monde qui est l'autre pays pour dire date qui les niveau Covid gouvernement qui a fait effort pour mener citoyens Saint-Lycée entre Guten Hod, honorable Senator Sarah Flood Bobra qui a dit raison qui ou qu'a fait en misi c'est parce que nous voulons savoir date qui nous ni assez nous ni pour changer aussi nous ni pour prendre en considération si rien ni pour faire ici à Saint-Lycée si nous est plus monde trouver qu'on est affecté nous caïsa ni capacité pour assister yo quoi bonne nouvelle encore là ni pour faire et puis c'est gens Saint-Lycée c'est citoyens noirs qui repatrié qui vivent Saint-Lycée 151 vini en le week-end avec la monsieur en l'autre bon voie là vini pour apporter développement là ni pour faire Covid encore nous faut changer nous ici en caille concept ou pour nous sortir ici parce que c'est net là dans moment peut dire car jeune pour discuter motion qui était commencé mardi. Merci tellement. Jesse?
Thanks for that. When we come back, we're due for another break. When we come back, Digicel joins in OEC's partnership against COVID-19 with efforts focused on procuring personal protective gear, as well as ensuring that the education sector is supported during these unprecedented times. We do hope you could stay tuned.
Coronavirus? But children are safe, no?
Hold up. Children are actually more likely to touch all kinds of surfaces, put their hands on their mouths and their eyes, or sneeze and cough with little thought about hygiene when around others. While children have been seen to recover well from this virus, they can easily spread it to those more at risk, like the elderly or ill persons who have a weaker immune system. Teach the little ones in your care to be little powerhouses of infection prevention. Keep reminding them, wash your hands. Cover your mouth with tissue or your inner elbow when you sneeze and cough. And be sure to praise them when you see them taking these precautions. Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Thank you for staying tuned. The debate continues this morning in the House of Parliament. This morning, the Senate will meet. We'll have a Senate sitting this morning to continue the debate on the extension, the motion to extend the state of emergency all the way to September 30th. We will have a clip of the Honorable Prime Minister coming up in just a moment, just giving the reasons for forwarding this motion in the Honorable House earlier this week. Also, the government of St. Lucia is seeking to authorize the Minister for Finance to borrow by means of advances a sum not exceeding $85 million from the commercial banks for a period of 6 months from the date hereof. Also, the Parliament is seeking to authorize the Minister for Finance to borrow the sum of US $29 million by way of a rapid credit facility loan from the International Monetary Fund for the purpose of capital and recurrent expenditure. Again, we are on standby for the commencement of the parliamentary sittings this morning, the Senate meeting this morning to debate these motions. In the meantime, we continue with news of Digicel coming to join and partner with the OECS, focused on the procurement of personal protective gear and ensuring that the education sector is supported during these unprecedented times. We have a report.
Digicel readily answered the OECS Commission's call to action, recognizing the importance and needs of the OECS with a contribution of US $140,000. Of that sum, US $100,000 is earmarked for procuring personal protective equipment, PPE. The additional US $40,000 is allocated to marketing OECS educational content across radio and television, in addition to Digicel's SMS and social media platforms. Director General of the OECS Commission, Dr. Digicel, commended Digicel's willingness to join the fight against COVID-19. Dr. Jules noted that the primary focus for the Commission at this time is on pooled procurement of supplies and equipment to ensure continued containment and facilitate the systematic recommencement of economic activity in the OECS.
In facing this disaster, we have tried to be ready. In viewing the global trail of death left by this pestilence, we have been sorrowful but strong. And even though it is certainly not a time of plenty, we are still grateful for the mercies that have graced us. It is in this context of gratitude and avoidance of complacency that we thank Digicel for the contribution of US $140,000 towards the COVID response mechanism of the OECS. We welcome this exercise of corporate social responsibility at a time like this.
CEO of Digicel St. Lucia, Siobhan James Alexander, welcomed the opportunity to assist in the fight against COVID-19 in the region. She appealed to other private sector entities to join in this worthy cause.
The time has come for corporate entities to assist with well endeavors that will help in the fight against this disease, and that is why Digicel has thrown its support behind the OECS Partnership Against COVID-19 initiative. The Organization of Eastern Caribbean States has sought to engage the region's private sector with the aim of acquiring all the necessities to combat the outbreak of this virus.
Dr. Jules cautioned against dismissing the dangers of the COVID-19 virus now that the OECS economies are beginning their reopening processes.
We have been fortunate in the OECS and in the Caribbean generally to have been spared thus far the worst of the pandemic that has been ravaging the world. But we should not allow this to lull us into complacency. Black Stalin warns us that in times of disaster we must be ready. But he reminds us that in times of plenty we must be grateful, in times of sorrow we must be strong, and in times of joy we must be thankful. In this COVID season, we can take all of this to heart.
From the Government Information Service, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
We continue with news of the Honorable Minister Economic Development, Housing, Urban Renewal, Transport and Civil Aviation, the Honorable Guy Joseph, giving us an update earlier this week in the Honorable House during his contribution to the debate on the Income Support Initiative under the Social Stabilization Program, and he did give us an update for both the NIC contributors and the non-NIC contributors. The provisions of the program encompassing both under the NIC fund, the National Insurance Fund, a temporary income support will be provided for a period of 3 months in the first instance. With respect to NIC contributors, a monthly payment relative to one's salary will be paid between $500 and $1,500, that being offered for a 3-month period in the first instance. Minister of Economic Development, Housing, Urban Renewal, Transport and Civil Aviation provided this update. And of course, we've gone over the benefits of this income support initiative quite a number of times, especially the NIC aspect of contributors receiving their funds so far. So we did play this clip yesterday, but for the benefit of those who did not catch our program yesterday, do take a listen, be informed.
Mr. Speaker, presently, according to my information, the NIC total amount paid as of 23rd May 2020 is $5,396,063.40. That is under the assistance for unemployed people by the NIC. Mr. Speaker, the average payout per person is $935.36, and here's the breakdown. Total number of persons paid as of 23rd May 2020, 5,769 people. Applicants in receipt of relief of 1,000 and over, 2,573 people have received 1,000 or more than 1,000. 1,000 or over. Applicants in receipt of relief less than 1,000, 3,169. 45% of the persons paid have received over $1,000.
Now, the income support program for non-NIC contributors has since been implemented as well, and this will be managed by the Ministries of Finance and Tourism collaboratively. The funding for the program will be supported by will be secured via loan and in the sum of $29 million by way of a rapid credit facility loan from the International Monetary Fund for the purpose of capital and recurrent expenditure. It is another reason why we are here in the House today. This is one of the motions that have been tabled in the Honorable House this week for debate.
Mr. Speaker, Department of Finance Income Support Program. Now, Mr. Speaker, for the income support program, under the same loan facility that two of them have spoken, Mr. Speaker, and note their words. We do not support the resolution to borrow. So here's what they do not support, Mr. Speaker. The $24,193,800 that is to pay the people who are non-contributors to the NIC. And that includes the taxi drivers, the hairdressers, the preschool operators.
And that was the Minister for Economic Development just giving us an update on the income support initiative under the Social Stabilization Plan. Of course, the NIC contributors. This program, economic relief program, has been rolled out for them as well. And we're getting word from the government of St. Lucia that the contributions for the economic relief program, the income support for non-NIC contributors, has also been implemented. So do stay tuned for the outcome of that. We will be following up for updates on how many persons benefited from the program for non-NIC contributors and provide you with that information in a subsequent broadcast. Carlton?
Merci tellement, Jesse. Quand nous continuer ici à Kabaou développement, quand il nous fait puis Covid, encore nous cadeau dit nous mener rapport nous ici à en caille concite quand il pour faire et puis développement au cas ça bonne nouvelle encore qu'a sorti hard coup ça Digicel by ce petit pays OICS là nous Digicel fait une donation de 140 millions de dollars ça c'est 140 000 dollars excusez-moi 100 000 dollars US. Et puis en 100 000 dollars ça, 100 000 calés pour acheter équipement pour protéger ces gens essentiels là. Ça y a couillé PPE. Ça c'est équipement pour ces gens essentiels là, comme gloves, comme masque. Et puis elle a ouvert 40 000 en l'argent ça, calé pour éducation, à sous information pour éducation, à sous radio, à sous télévision. Et puis là, directeur général, Dr. Didicus Jules Jadi, ça c'est un bon bagage. Qualité d'instruction Covid déjà fait pour une assistance qu'on a hot Digicel, c'est un bon bagage qui a facilité effort yo ka fait pour mener ce pays à vie à sous pied quoi. En l'autre bonne nouvelle les vini pour une donation qui a sorti là hot Digicel en 140 000 dollars US. En plus information et développement les vini pour honorable Guy Joseph ou quand il changé il était ici à mardi qui était une explanation qui dit les vini pour plan gouvernement pour assister avec des moun support as a résultat de Covid moun qui perd travail moun qui trouve qu'on affecté on quand bien changé en chai parole de NIC et là il était dit pour date les vini pour date le 23 mai il dit à peu près 5769 moun j'ai trouvé assistance à des judgment plus de 100 000 dollars à peu près 2573 moun et puis là il a dit au cas où que bagage a commencé avec NIC a commencé payer et bien assister moun bien important pour nous dire c'est moun ça a commencé un support mais en plus de ça il a dit parmi l'argent au attend gouvernement vient demander permission pour prêter en parmi l'argent ça c'est un pas de l'argent ça qu'il aller pour faire projet en passe là pour payer pour différents projets et pour payer dette mais en dans l'argent ça qu'il changer gouvernement aussi dit monde qui pas qu'à payer NIC qu'il joindre anticipant aussi et là il dit dans l'argent ça qui yo venu demander yo having a kai concite pour demander parlement permission pour faire ça nous ka ouais date qui dit en la ça yo ka fait pour assister d'autres monde nous ka parler des monde qui ka travaille c'est tikabaouya monde qui ka travaille taxi et monde qui ka fait chiver en parmi l'autre bagaille quand Yannick te ka dit nous et nous côté nous y pour date les venir pour assistance ça qui est gouvernement Japon met pour bail ces moun ça encore nous a dit merci pour vous écouter sous ka chile konouye bon matin rapport nous a sorti ici à kai concite Castri qu'on nous a espéré parlement qui commencé à peu près 10h mais pour après ça nous a fait rapport COVID-19 headquarters nous mener ici pour moment à son jeudi bon matin le 28 mai qu'on nous a information avec développement qui a fait l'année pour faire et puis Covid nous a merci tellement pour qu'à suivre nous et qu'à supporter.
We're going to take one more break. When we come back, before we go to our handover and stand by for the beginning of the parliamentary proceedings, we're going to hear from the Honorable Prime Minister speaking on the reason, the rationale for this extension that he has come to petition the Honorable House for in the state of emergency. So do stay tuned for that as we stand by for the beginning of the Senate proceedings this morning.
Coronavirus? I am worried, Gassa. It's only old people dying from that.
Hold up. Being young does not mean being safe. Yes, it's true that the elderly are at higher risk, but anyone can get the virus. The effect is even worse if you have a chronic condition like hypertension, heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes, or weakness in your immune system. If you are living with these conditions, be extra careful. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol when hand washing is not possible. Avoid touching your face. Take steps to boost your immunity through proper nutrition, exercise, rest, and take your medication as prescribed. Limit being around people who have flu symptoms, even close family members. Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Thank you for staying tuned. This is the COVID-19 response report for today, Thursday, the 28th of May, 2020. My name is Jessie Leonce, and this is Carlton Cyril, my colleague, as usual. But we're bringing you the COVID-19 response report this morning. We're coming to you live from the Parliament building in downtown Castries. We're not at the Information Command Center at the GIS studios. Shortly, the sitting of the Senate is scheduled to begin. It's scheduled for 10 a.m. and soon we'll be on standby for the beginning of that. But in the meantime, we just want to backpedal to the proceedings on Tuesday when the House of Representatives met to table the motion to extend the state of emergency as well as to authorize two loans, one from the International Monetary Fund and another from commercial banks. And the Honorable Prime Minister, just speaking specifically to the extension of the state of emergency, did give us a status update on all of the efforts of the government of St. Lucia so far, and that includes the implementation of the curfew order, the commencement of testing locally, just to go through the 113 Cuban medical professionals that were summoned to St. Lucia to assist at this time. And in stating, just giving us an update, he also stated that, the necessary steps that we took prior, that includes the state of emergency that was initiated, is why we are still standing here today with 18 cases all recovered, but having a good level of control over COVID-19 here in St. Lucia. He did state that despite all of the strides that we've made, we should not become complacent and that we cannot afford to drop our guard or return to our previous way of life. And he did state that as COVID-19 continues to ravage the world with new cases and deaths being recorded every single day, world developments of the past week reveal the uncomfortable reality and that we have to deal with in terms of confronting COVID-19. He stated that we can no longer continue to exist in a bubble. Safety, hygiene, and economic stability will be even more important in designing the post-lockdown world. And all our persons have been exclaiming concern that we're opening up the country, but we're still, the government of St. Lucia is still proceeding to petition the House for an extension of the state of emergency. And it is because, coming from the Honorable Prime Minister, it is because we have to begin to understand and to design and experience how we're going to exist in this post-lockdown world. COVID-19, dealing with COVID-19, no longer existing in a bubble, but reopening our country and trying to bolster our economy, keep our economy buoyed, and at the same time observing all of the health and safety measures that have been outlined by the health authorities. I just want to go to the clip of the Honorable Minister giving his rationale for coming to the House to petition the House of Representatives for an extension in the state of emergency.
A state of emergency for the next 4 months will allow us to continue to implement and adequately monitor the effectiveness of the measures we have put in place and to make quick adjustments as required. Mr. Speaker, some may ask, why 4 months? As we strive to reopen St. Lucia under a phased approach, we're guided by the rest of the world. With many countries in the world moving to reopen their borders and the waves of recurring infections, it is important that St. Lucia is able to react quickly by implementing the necessary measures to reduce and contain the spread of this virus. Essentially, time to implement, review, and react is of essence. Despite our successes thus far, and St. Lucia standing out as a leader in the region and the world, we cannot rest easy. As we look forward the future and our new normal, we must remember what was effective in getting us to this point and what is needed to continue to stay the course to keep our communities and our loved ones safe. By extending the state of emergency, this will allow for the competent authority to act with the immediate dispatch on the advisement of our health officials, resulting in the need to declare operational necessary measures. As a result, Mr. Speaker, this further extension of the state of emergency is being sought to facilitate a quick response if another outbreak of COVID-19 occurs. This extension will also permit the continuance of the assistance provided by the Cuban medical team, who is authorized to work only during the state of emergency, thereby strengthening the personal capacities of the health sector during the volatile period.
We just want to remind the St. Lucians, with that said by the Honorable Prime Minister on Tuesday in his bid to extend the state of emergency here in St. Lucia, the all clear has not been given on island. We are moving into new phases, a new phase of our recovery of COVID-19 here in St. Lucia, but the all clear has not been given. We're reopening the country, and if I could speak for the command center, there's an effort to try to find out how we can begin to live with COVID-19, how we can exist with COVID-19, because that will be ultimately the challenge of the government of St. Lucia and other governments of the world. How are they going to live with COVID-19? How are they going to coexist with COVID-19? Again, the Prime Minister on Tuesday did re-emphasize that the decisions that have been made so far and the decisions going forward, he assured, will be heavily reliant on scientific data. So the information coming from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, and we know that is trickling down from the World Health Organization, and we will be heavily dependent on going forward, and in the past on the scientific data that we receive and the advice of the Chief Medical Officer. So again, we just want to let you know the all clear has not been given, and the state of the extension of the state of emergency that is being petitioned by the Honorable Prime Minister is to help us to, of course, we're still grappling with COVID-19 and its effects, the threat of it, but we need to live alongside it. And with that threat still on, the government of St. Lucia needs to be prepared to take immediate action if needs be, if there is perhaps, God forbid, another outbreak in St. Lucia as we try to live with COVID-19. As we open up our borders, we cannot remain isolated. We cannot live in a bubble. There needs to be some resumption of our tourism, our lifeline accommodation services here on island. So the government of St. Lucia is rolling on a tightrope here, trying to maneuver, the resumption of our economic activity, as well as trying to keep the population safe from COVID-19.
Et puis, Jesse, ou bien dit, ça t'allait. Encore, moi dit bonjour et merci pour vous qui écoutez nous. À sur radio, ou qui suivez nous sur Facebook, nous avons dit bonjour à vous. Et puis, nous avons changer. Aujourd'hui, pour nous avons sorti un site qu'on nous a présenté information à sous Covid. Donc, bien ça, nous avons apporté nous c'est. Nous ici, c'est headquarters là, headquarters COVID-19 20 about information développement qu'on a fait. Et parmi développement ça, nous ici à site côté Premier ministre cabinet li a venu au Parlement pour demander permission parmi l'autre bagaille pour prêter l'argent pour ajouter à sous état des secours et puis pour au IMF là. Nous ça va continuer aujourd'hui. Mais parmi information nous venons Captain Hod honorable Alan Chasney qui c'est premier ministre Saint-Lucie il ba raison mardi en caille concite pour qui ça en Chaimoun Hamad des questions ça pour qui ça nous ka ajouter état de secours ou ka ouais date qui état de secours ça yo ka après bout en bout de mois ça il a commencer le 1er juin aller le 31 septembre à présent raison et quand parmi bagay il dit les vini pour nous en raison c'est pas nous yon nous kaywe en chay moun trouvé ko yo affecté par Covid et pour raison ça à présent il dit ça qui nous pour faire Saint-Lucie a proposé pour vie ouvert en 5 phases et vous kay changer à présent nous ka en bout 3e phase là qu'entrer en 4e là et sous te ka bien suivre premier ministre déjà dit yon bagay tout ça lié puis cabinet li kay fait qu'a sorti et puis ben c'est à sous conseil bail par CMO et puis c'est Jean Hord commande centre là c'est moun qui responsable pour veiller information c'est moun qui responsable pour dire côté nous les vini pour Covid c'est limoa c'est action qui brise point et à sous raison ça il a dit ça il a faire c'est parce que commande centre ça pourquoi dire tout bagay bon pour aller ben business vie nous a dit yo brise et yo a dit pas ça seulement pour lui même quitter pays à ouvert vie ouvert pays c'est faux ces gens en commande centre dit oui tout bagay OK on peut changer aussi les venir pour consultation CMO et puis ces gens qui travaillent puis là fait bien clair les venir pour chaque décision yo kay prend en considération information yo ni dans 14 jours information ça yo kay servi pour baïjid et ben pour dire qui manière nous supposer répondre ben nous supposer comporter comme nous là ni pour faire Covid c'est pour ça qu'on attend les bons matins les mois que Jesse commencer ici nous ka do côté nous combien test qui a fait combien monde qui négatif combien qui positif et qui ça le gouvernement qu'a fait c'est pour ça qu'on attend côté nous là venir pour support NIC côté nous pour monde qui pas payer NIC quand tout ça c'est à sous information et puis décision là encore premier ministre allé yon pas plus loin pour faire mon copain là venir pour ces gens qui assister nous ça c'est docteur et puis c'est moun qui sorti hors Cuba pour assister nous yon dans ces conditions de ces moun ça assister nous c'est pas du temps nous en bas en état de secours quand on bien savent yon dans ces raisons qui te bail pas du temps nous ka ouvert quand trouver en 4e phase là c'est nous briser et faire assurer résilience département santé qui est en ordre et puis c'est pour raison ça nous ni c'est docteur Cuba Hot Cuba et puis nous c'est moun ça ici pour bonne assistance en bas état de secours quand si nous pas ni état de secours nous kay ouais c'est moun ça ka retourner quand tout premier ministre là bail ces raisons ça et puis là il vient bail assurance là il dit qu'a bail assurance dans qui situation avec performance là yo ka veille et puis yo ka plaider ben yo ka croire si temps vini plus court nous ka yo en bout de état de secours quand c'est ça en parmi l'autre bagaille premier ministre là bail raison pour qui ça nous établir ben il vini demander pour 4 mois encore pour yo mettre bagay en place et puis pour qui manière yo ka rabattre vermin Covid là quoi nous ka quoi nous ba une explanation pour ka comprendre raison derrière quand nous bien dit nous ka espérer ici dans moment bon 10 heures si Dieu veut pour Sénat ka joine hodia encore sous paté ça mardi nous c'est Jean Parlement premier ministre là joine ici quand c'est continuation ou ça c'est décision ça ni pour venir dans Sénat là et puis jodi c'est ça nous ka espérer pour quand arrêter puis nous continuer suivre nous et nous ka ba aussi information ça ici à Hodia nous ka sorti hod kai concite merci tellement.
And as Carlton rightly mentioned, another aspect to the extension of the state of emergency is having the 113 Cuban medical professionals remain here in St. Lucia to provide personal support to our local health workers. And if the state of emergency is lifted, they will have to leave. They are only here on condition of a state of emergency here on island. Another point to note coming from the Honorable Prime Minister's statement on his bid to extend the state of emergency to the 30th of September. The extent of the Senate business here this morning, we are scheduled to hear from the Upper House, proceedings of the Upper House this morning, today, Thursday, the 28th of May, 2020. I think they're scheduled to begin at 10 a.m., and we are on standby for them. But just to go over the extent of their business here this morning in the Honorable House, among other things, the motions being tabled is a carryover from Tuesday's proceedings of the House of Assembly. Be it resolved that Parliament further extend for an additional period commencing from the first day of June 2020 and ending on the 30th day of September 2020 in accordance with Section 17(6) of the Constitution of St. Lucia, Cap 101, the Constitution of St. Lucia, extension of Resolution of Parliament approving declaration of state of emergency passed as statutory instrument number 60 of 2020 that extended the state of emergency for an additional period commencing from the 27th day of April 2020 and ending on the 31st day of May 2020. In short, it is a petition made forward by the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs and the Public Service being made to extend the state of emergency to September 30th. And that extension will mean we will be under a state of emergency for another 4 months. It does not mean that we will be under lockdown. It does not mean that we will be under 24-hour curfew. It simply means that we will be under a state of emergency, giving the government of St. Lucia powers should we have, God forbid, another outbreak of COVID-19. As we reopen our economy, we reopen our borders, should there be another outbreak or anything to that effect, that the government of St. Lucia, the executive, can take immediate action to protect the population during that time. The experts have said that we will be dealing with COVID-19 for the next 2 years. We're even hearing that COVID-19 may become endemic. We will have to deal with COVID-19, the virus. It will just become another virus that we have to deal with in terms like Zika, dengue. And so that is the reason that the Honorable Prime Minister is making this petition to Parliament this week. The other two motions are loans that the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance is seeking to get authority from the Parliament to take up, and that includes borrowing by means of advances, sums not exceeding $85 million from commercial banks, as well as Parliament seeking the Minister for Finance seeking authority from the Parliament to borrow the sum of US $29 million by way of a rapid credit facility loan from the International Monetary Fund for the purpose of capital and recurrent expenditure. Now, just to let you know, this IMF loan is repayable at a 0% interest rate, inclusive of a 5.5 years grace period with a final maturity of 10 years and semi-annually through a standing authorization to the International Monetary Fund to debit St. Lucia's XDR account with the amount of all financial obligations to the International Monetary Fund for the Rapid Credit Facility loan as the financial obligations fall due. We will also see the tabling of a bill, an amendment bill, that is the CIP amendment bill this morning. If you're just joining us, a special good morning to you, to everyone viewing the live on air and online. We do hope you can stay tuned. The sitting of the Senate is scheduled to start at 10 a.m. Do stay tuned for that. We are on standby until its commencement.